Gamers, I want to do this video here because you can probably tell from the tone of my voice, this is not going to be a very family, not going to be a very happy-duzzy video, I'm afraid. Because I was just scrolling on the internet, and it turns out that we just had some very bad news just hit the PlayStation community. And I just need to let my PlayStation friends know about this because this is going to piss them off when they hear about this, okay? I need to let them know. I need to let them know what they're in for because I generally had high hopes that Sony was going to listen to us. They might potentially backtrack on the whole cancellation of the Destiny franchise. They might backtrack in maybe making sure Destiny can be saved. They might have learnt their lessons about Marathon. They might backtrack on a lot of things. But then recently, there was developments of the fact that they were deleting over 500 movies from players' PlayStation video libraries. So a lot of basically all the studio canon movies are being deleted from people's libraries, like basically stealing, but digitally, which is pissing a lot of people off. And I hope they do fight this so that they can preserve those films. Please do, community. If you are fighting it, please let your voices be heard because I think it's time we need to stop this shit from happening. And then to add more fuel to the fire is today's news, which is about the gaming side of PlayStation. And you're probably going to not like the title I'm about to mention here, okay? Because I'm going to mention it, I'm going to refocus on this one, but there is another article that talks about the PlayStation 3 regarding the PlayStation Store. I'll leave that in the description if you want to see what they're doing with that, and we might talk about that in a bit as well. But the first article we're going to look at is probably the article that's probably going to hurt me the most. And in fact, it's going to hurt a lot of people who like to buy their games physically. So let me just tell you the title of this article, okay? The title reads as this: Physical game production ending in January 2028 for new game releases on PlayStation consoles. You heard me right, guys. You heard me right. PlayStation, or should I say Sony, are basically killing off the physical disc gaming landscape as of January 2028. So in other words, within the next year, this is going to be our last, essentially next year is going to be the last year we can buy physical games for PlayStation. Imagine how that probably feels right now for somebody who likes to get physical games for all their titles. Imagine how that probably feels for you right now. The fact that you're hearing from the voices of PlayStation that they are killing off your physical gaming landscape and taking it away from you. Can you imagine the reaction of people right now who like to get their games physically? Can you imagine the uproar this is going to lead into? And yet Sony's perfectly fine just putting an article out and telling people, hey, guess what? All those physical games you've been dreaming that it's going to last forever, we're going to kill it come January 2028. You're going to go all digital. We're going to force you to be digital gamers going forward. That's just pathetic, in my opinion. And you know what this kind of tells me right now? This news right here basically confirms my worst fears, and that is that PlayStation are basically what they're doing here is essentially telling me that PlayStation 6 is going to be an all digital console. That's literally what this message is telling me right now. Because otherwise, why would you kill physical media if you were going to keep a disc drive for your new console, for your future PlayStation consoles? You're not doing that. They're not doing that, guys. We might as well just... I mean, unless we can fight this, we're probably being forced to go for a digital version of PlayStation across the board. So in other words, future PlayStation consoles are going to be digital from PlayStation 6 onwards. Which is already probably killing. It's going to kill your excitement for getting physical games going forward. And also, it doesn't help that there are some people out there telling me, oh, just buy digital games. It's, I've stopped buying physical games for years. Yes, I get that. But at the same time, there are some of us who like to get physical games because we like the cheaper alternative. It's all right for you to say, hey, digitals are cheaper and stuff. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. There's a reason why people like me and most people prefer physical versions of games. Because it's cheaper that way. And also getting them secondhand is also cheaper. So before there is a digital gamer who comes out and says, oh, we don't need the physical media stuff, shut the hell up and actually listen from somebody who has brought physical media since the beginning of PlayStation. Because I actually know what I'm talking about and I'm not fucking stupid. Alright. God, I had to get that out of my chest because I knew there was going to be someone who was going to whine and complain, oh, you shouldn't be complaining, you should be going for digital. You don't get it, do you? They don't get it. They don't understand how important it is for some gamers to have physical media. To have gaming preserves. They don't get it. But anyway, let's have a look at this article and see what they have to say, shall we? Alright. This is going to be fun. So they go on to say, in a response to shifting trends in customer profession, new games will be released on PlayStation Store and at retails in digital formats only. You can imagine some people are going to be so pissed off from that statement alone. But anyway, carry on. As a customer preference and the broader entertainment industry continues to shift away from physical discs to digital, physical game disc production for all new games released on PlayStation consoles will be discontinued starting January 2028. Following this date, new games will be available on PlayStation Store and at retails in digital formats only. This transition has no impact on games that have already released or will be releasing prior to January 2028 in this format. Then, what do you mean prior to this format? You've just confirmed to people that you're getting rid of this format for games. Why you mean games coming after January 2028? What the hell are you talking about, Sony? You literally said on the top of your article you're going to kill physical discs from January 2028. So what do you mean there's going to be disc stuff coming after January 2028? You just said on the top of your bloody article that you're getting rid of it at the start of that year. So why are you telling us that you're getting rid of it, but then saying, oh yeah, might have some disc stuff coming after that date? What do you mean? Do you mean January 2027? Because if that's what you mean, then it basically is then we get you. But you said January 2028, so you're confusing people already by saying that statement. Anyway, carrying on. This is a natural direction for Sony Interactive Entertainment to adapt to customer trends as the general preference for digital media significantly outpaces physical discs. This transition will enable us to align more closely with how most of our community prefers to access and play games today. Do you know what that bothers me about this? Is that they're basing this on data. They're basing this on the data that some people have posted on social media, right? Where they said, oh, about 80% buy games on PlayStation, about 90% buy games on Xbox. They're basing it on that data. This decision was based on the fact that they've received data for the last few years telling them that, hey, buying games on digitally have been going up. Physical medias have been going down. hate the fact they are using this freaking data to say, oh, that I guess that means we don't need to do physical media anymore. I hate that concept. I really do. It really pisses me off that they're using this data as a way to kill off the physical media gaming when some of us prefer physical games because we would like to have ownership in games, Sony. Otherwise, why would some of us gamers prefer that format? Yes, I get it. There are some people who may prefer digital, but there are some of us in the world who would like to own our games and like to have ownership in our games. But what you've effectively have done here is taken away our ownership. Anyway, continuing on, we will continue to prioritize our resources to drive inverses into how players can access games and provide choice as to where players prefer to purchase new games, whether that's at retailers or PlayStation Store. We'll remain committed to delivering a world-class gaming experiences for our fans, and we thank you for continued support. Yeah, but you know what they're not telling you? Do you know what they're basically? You want to know what this means for anybody who buys a game at retail stores going forward? You know what this is going to mean, right? This means that any physical or any form of physical version they release is going to be just a code in the box, just like GTA 6 and just like some of the games from Switch 2. That's literally what they're saying here, guys. They are literally saying they are turning their games into a code in the box. And this is coming, and by the way, this is coming from a company who always prioritized game preservation and always preferred game on the disc. And they've just killed that hype off. Do you know, I'm gonna say this because this has been running through my mind when I've seen this article, right? I'm honestly it makes me so pissed off that Sony have done this to us. First, they kill off Destiny 2, right? They kill off Destiny 2. They end the live service support for that game that could have help them generate plenty of money if they utilized and capitalized on the Destiny hype, which is currently happening since Momentum of Triumphant. They killed that hype, and then they refused to give us a Destiny 3 when their players have been literally telling them in the state of plays, in any showcases that have been happening, we want Destiny 3. They even told them on freaking social media that they want Destiny 3, and they still didn't listen. They still choose Marathon over Destiny. And then the next thing you know, now that Rockstar and Take-Two have announced a code in the box game and that they're not doing disc versions at all, they confirmed that last week. Now Sony's like, oh, well, I guess this is the perfect scenario for us to tell people we're going to kill off the physical game on the disc versions of our games by January 2028. They used the GTA 6 announcement as a perfect excuse to kill off physical media. That's what they were waiting for. They were waiting for Rockstar and Take-Two to kill that off so they have an excuse now to make this announcement. It really, I honestly, it bothers me that you basically relied on Rockstar and Take-Two to say that there isn't any disc versions, confirm that to the world, and as soon as we were upset about that, and you could have used that as an opportunity to sort of fight against that, you decided to join alongside them. You decided to kill off the physical disc format of gaming for a lot of people who enjoy that. So in other words, what you've essentially done, Sony, is given people more and more reasons now to want to boycott your products. This is really going to go so well for you, isn't it? the fact that when PlayStation 6 comes out, don't be so surprised if a lot of people decide to go for Project Helix or transition to gaming PC. Don't be so surprised. Because what you've effectively have done, Sony, has pissed off your entire remains of your PlayStation community to the point that they're probably saying now, we are boycotting PlayStation. Because that's what they're going to tell you now. They're going to say they're going to boycott you. Because you were that so freaking stupid to make a decision like this because you had Take-Two and Rockstar backing you up. I'm honestly lost for words right now. I was honestly hoping Sony wasn't going to take the more high ground, but they decided to do it. They decided to pull the freaking trigger that I wish they weren't going to do. And they've done it. They've done something that they knew was going to piss us off. And they've done it. I honestly wish they weren't going to make an announcement like this. But the fact that they've just done this has basically means one thing. It basically means they are pushing for an all-digital gaming future. They are counting on it. They're begging us to switch to digital. That's what this is about. This is not about saving the physical media. This is about them demanding people like me and anybody who cares about physical media to just accept that physical media is dead and let's go to digital. Except the only problem with that is that you're currently removing films from people's libraries. And we're supposed to trust you for digital games, are we? And we're supposed to trust you that our games are safe when you could easily delete those at any time like you're doing with the movies. You see what I'm talking about? The fact that they're encouraging us to switch whilst they're deleting movies from people's libraries. Yeah, forget that, Sony. Honestly, forget that. Because you really think I'm going to be that stupid to want to switch to digital when you're removing content from people. And you're expecting me to still switch anyways, even though you're doing something which is considered a crime. I'm honestly can't even trust Sony anymore reading this. And then it gets even worse because if you're a PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita person and you're using PlayStation Store, they've just announced that they're going to be closing the PlayStation Store for the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita. They're going to be closing the stores in select markets starting this year, following the global closure next year. So in other words, if you're still playing on the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita, you're not going to be able to buy games at some very, very soon. Because in select markets, they're getting rid of it. And then next year, completely gone. So they're not only encouraging you to abandon PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita, they are counting on you to upgrade to PlayStation 6. That is just, honestly, it's disgraceful. It is disgraceful that this is what they've done to our, this is what they've done to us physical gamers who love to get games on the box. They've killed the hype for us. And and again, as I said before, they've basically confirmed probably one of the worst fears that I'm sure is probably going to get announced by Sony within the next year. Don't be surprised if they announce the PlayStation 6 within the next year, because chances are they'll probably will release it next year. But I think it's clear where we're heading with the PlayStation 6. I think it's clear that we're heading to an all-digital PlayStation future. And some of it, and for many of us physical media gamers, they're going to shove this down our throats until we give in. Because that's what they want. They want us to give in. They don't want us to hang around begging for physical media to stay. They want to take everything, take the physical media content, game of the disc content away from us, so we are left with no choice but to get digital games in the future. Because also, also another reason why they're doing this is they're trying to kill off the resale second-hand market. Because you know what this means, right? Now that they're killing off physical disc versions of games, it means that shops like CEX is going to start losing games very soon. In fact, in the near future, we're going to start seeing physical game in the box, a disc in the box, should I say, physical releases are going to no longer be sold in CEX in the next few years, because PlayStation's not going to have physical media anymore. Chances are Xbox will probably follow. I will not be surprised if Nintendo ends up following, but I really hope they don't. But I just have a worst case scenario that it's probably going to happen now. And places like CEX is going to become redundant because there ain't going to be a reason for gamers to go in there unless they want to buy a console second hand. Or if they want to buy a DVD or a film or whatever. Well, maybe for now you can still buy games, but at some point there will be a time where CEX is going to be forced to just take out their entire stock, because gamers are not going to be able to go into that store anymore unless they keep their disc drive consoles. It's the only way they can keep their physical, keep buying physical versions of games. It just sucks, man. It really does. It really sucks to be doing a video like this and then to realize that stuff's being pulled under the rug from you when you're somebody who's been you've been so invested in, especially someone like me who's been invested in getting games physically for so many years, and then to finally learn that PlayStation is killing that off in the next year and within the next year, it's very disheartening. It really is, and I don't know what to say or do. It's like I feel powerless. It's like I've got the only person I can probably cheer for right now is Stop Killing Games, because I feel like Stop Killing Games is the only entity right now who can save us from this mess. And I'm going to leave a link to the Stop Killing Games website. I hope there is a website for them. I think we need to show them more support more than ever, because they're the only people who could probably save us from this mess, who could probably save us from this hell. Because if they could save us and save physical media games in any capacity, I would love the people responsible for Stop Killing Games more than ever, because I feel like they're the only people who can save this industry. Because PlayStation's effectively trying to kill this industry, and I've got to hope now that they can fight this. So anybody who's in charge of Stop Killing Games, if you're hearing my voice, please save the physical media gaming for the sake of the fans and the sake of the physical media gamers who want to keep owning games on a disc. Just save this portion of gaming. Don't let these greedy corporates take this away from us. Don't let them try to take away physical media games for the sake of their own personal agendas, just so they can trick us into joining digital and then watching our library get taken away from us. Do whatever you need to do to fight this. Do what you need to do to go above them. Do what needs to be done to silence these corporations and to finally put the law in fast and quick. Because if you don't, they're going to get away with this for the next few months. And chances are we're probably going to get even worse announcements if Stop Killing Games does not start making relegations now. So I urge you, if you haven't supported them already, go and support them, because we can turn. I believe this is probably our only chance of turning this shit around. And if we don't do it now, then everything will be lost from what I can see. Because I mean, I've literally got games on the shelf here, and I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, what do I do with this stuff if PlayStation 6 comes out and there's no distro? What do I do with it? So if we can somehow reverse this decision, that would be great, because I think that would help so many physical media gamers who have got shells of like games that they don't know what they're going to do with them once the digital future begins. I mean, some will likely resell, but I don't particularly like that. I don't particularly want to sell off everything, because I've worked so hard to build this collection, only for me to be forced to get rid of it just for the sake of this digital future. It sucks. It really does. And I shouldn't be forced into killing it just because they want it dead. You know what I mean? But yeah. That's basically my frustration about this whole announcement and how I feel about it. And sure, there's going to be some friends who are going to tell me, oh, just stop whining and complaining and accept it. No. I'll accept it when I'm ready to accept it. And right now, I'm not ready to let go of physical media gaming yet. I still feel like I've got plenty of ways to go until I let it go. So all I've got to say to those people is, screw you, support Stop Killing Games, and stop trying to demand an all-digital future, because you're probably part of the reason why these corporations are going against the physical media gamers right now. Stop trying to kill off the physical medium landscape and actually appreciate the fact that there are gamers out there who prefer this form of medium. But that's all I've got to say, guys. And I mean, I might talk about this more on stream probably later, but I'm generally pissed off that this is what Sony has done to us. And I thought the Destiny 2 was bad, but this is even worse. And I know young Ye's going to have a field day with this. I know he's going to certainly be pissed off when he hears about this. So, yeah. That's basically how I feel about all this. And I would love to hear from those who care about physical media games what you make of all this. Are you pleased with Sony? Are you proud of Sony for killing off physical media? Or would you like to support Stop Killing Games and prevent all this from getting worse? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll catch you guys in an upcoming video when I hopefully discuss some good news, I'm hoping, but doesn't look like that's going to happen for a little while, but I'll see you then.